They were never the disciplined elite the world imagined. The Zero Units, the CIA-backed Afghan paramilitaries, were a patchwork militia assembled from fractured loyalties, village grudges, and men living on the margins of war. Across the Pakistan-Afghanistan border belt, they grew infamous. Night raids that blurred into brutality, detentions with no paperwork, killings that no one could verify. In places like Khost, Paktika, Nangarhar, and the tribal stretches near Pakistan's frontier, their name carried less the weight of professionalism and more the echo of fear. At their peak, the Zero Units numbered around 6,500 to 7,500 fighters. Not regular soldiers, but an irregular force built for deniable missions. And when the US-backed Afghan state fell, this militia did not retire, it scattered. A chaotic evacuation airlifted about 2,000 to 3,000 of them to the United States, roughly 30 to 40% of the entire Zero Units force. These men, once deployed in secret operations, suddenly found themselves in American suburbs, carrying memories of violence and years of unprocessed trauma. Another 1,500 to 2,000, nearly a quarter of the force, slipped into Pakistan, blending into a border landscape already crowded with armed actors. The remaining 1,000 to 1,500 stayed inside Afghanistan, hiding from Taliban reprisals that would later claim hundreds of lives. The war abandoned them, and the world hoped they would simply disappear. But they did not. The shock came when one of the former militia members resurfaced in Washington, D.C., not as a refugee rebuilding a new life, but as the gunman in a violent attack. For investigators, this incident tore open a reality long pushed aside. When a war ends without accountability, its fighters, especially its irregular forces, don't vanish. They drift, and sometimes they explode. Pakistan had said this for years. Islamabad warned that Afghan refugees were not a homogeneous population, that among them existed militias and men shaped by unregulated violence. But these warnings were dismissed, until now. Today, with nearly 2,000 zero-unit remnants believed to be hiding in Pakistan's border provinces, many undocumented and vulnerable to militant recruitment, Pakistan's warning looked less like a rhetoric and more like a foresight. While the rank-and-file militia scattered across borders, their former commanders gathered in a very different setting, the quiet suburbs of northern Virginia. There, behind ordinary office fronts, sits the headquarters of the Afghanistan United Front, an exile movement that claims to fight politically but carries unmistakable military DNA. At its center is Syed Sami Sadat, the last head of Afghan Special Operations. Around him orbit former NDS intelligence officers, police commanders, technocrats, diaspora activists, and yes, familiar faces from the network that once directed or coordinated militia actors like the Zero Units. Afghanistan United Front describes itself as a political organization, advocating democracy, women's rights, and international engagement. But its core membership reflects something different: the exile architecture of the old Afghan security state. Its funding, not officially declared, but the signs point to a combination of diaspora contributions. Private donors sympathetic to the former republic, policy circles in Washington, and advocacy networks that keep the Afghan issue alive. No state claims to back it, but its polished presence in US political space suggests a steady flow of support from individuals and institutions aligned with the anti-Taliban cause. And then came the spark that hinted at a deeper intrigue. Cheryl Bernard, wife of former US envoy Zalmay Khalilzad, publicly alleged that Pakistan's ISI was engaging the Afghan United Front as a tool to weaken the Taliban and pull America's attention back into Afghanistan. Pakistan dismissed the claim. Afghanistan United Front rejected it, yet the rumor itself, unproven but widely circulated, revealed how sensitive the geopolitical terrain has become. Because if abandoned militias and organized exiles ever align with regional intelligence agendas, the embers of Afghanistan's conflict could ignite again. The truth at the heart of this saga is stark. The Zero Units were never a disciplined army. They were a wartime militia suddenly cut loose. The Afghanistan United Front is not a conventional political party. It is the political reincarnation of a lost security apparatus. And Afghanistan is not at peace. It is suspended between collapse and the next upheaval. An abandoned army still exists. A headquarters in Virginia still strategizes. And a country broken by decades of war waits for the next move.